This isn't just a trade tree, this is a trade redwood. I'm Steve Dangle, this is the Sportsnet YouTube channel, and we're gonna talk about the Teemu Selanne trade tree. Which one? He was traded a few times. No. We're doing the first one. The big one. Teemu Selanne going from the Winnipeg Jets, the original ones, the Arizona Coyotes these days. It's still weird. Going to the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Now, first things first, neither team is called what they were at the time of this deal. Anaheim Mighty Ducks are now just called the Anaheim Ducks, and the Winnipeg Jets are now called the Arizona Coyotes. And Teemu Selanne is one of those players who I have to remind myself it's 2022. And I feel like a lot of the people watching this just aren't old enough to appreciate what Teemu Selanne meant to the sport, especially at the beginning of his career. And I'll count myself among that group. After all, when Teemu Selanne made his NHL debut, I was 4. But I was also only a few months old for the Wayne Gretzky trade tree, so don't worry, I'll still do a good job. And our story starts at the 1988 NHL draft. Minnesota had the first pick, the Minnesota North Stars, that is, now known as the Dallas Stars. With the first overall pick, they selected Mike Modano, who you might know as a Detroit Red Wing. That's a joke, you see. You also might know him as the guy who finished his career with 1,499 NHL games played. That's also a joke, just not the funny kind. With the second overall pick in 1988, the Vancouver Canucks select Trevor Linden, and yes, I see you in my Twitter mentions. We're gonna do it! Have some patience! Some other amazing names in there, Jeremy Roenick, Rod Brind'Amour, but 10th overall, the Winnipeg Jets get this young Finn named Teemu Selanne. And you know what? Somewhat of a risky pick. And probably a pick that I would love to see some newspaper clippings from the time. It could not have been popular. Especially with the success that some of the other players taken in the first round had that year. Teemu Selanne took 4 full seasons in Finland before he made the jump to the NHL. And they were 4 good seasons in Finland before making the jump to the NHL. He had almost a goal per game. Like, for example, in his final season in Finland, Selanne had 39 goals. His next closest teammate had 21. But 92-93 rolls around, and Teemu finally makes his debut in Winnipeg. And honestly, the type of rookie season that I don't know if we'll ever see replicated in the NHL. Let's put this into perspective. In terms of a recent example, Auston Matthews had 40 goals as a rookie. That's a lot of goals for a rookie. Go back about a decade before Matthews' debut, Alexander Ovechkin had 52 goals as a rookie. That's a lot of goals. During the 92-93 season, Teemu Selanne set an NHL record. I don't know if anyone's ever gonna beat it. In 84 games, because back then the regular season was a teeny bit longer, Teemu Selanne had 76 goals. Not a typo, 76 plus 132 points. Teemu Selanne was a destroyer of worlds as a rookie. And it's because of that season that Teemu Selanne is an extraordinarily rare example of a player having their best season in their rookie season and still putting up a Hockey Hall-of-Fame quality career. Because Selanne had a couple more 50-goal seasons, a bunch more 40-goal seasons, but never anything like 76. 76 is a different beast. These days, 60 goals in the NHL is like a once-in-a-decade thing. This dude put up 76 in his rookie year. Surely the party is never gonna end for Teemu Selanne and the Winnipeg Jets. Unfortunately, that's kind of the sad part. Because for as amazing as Selanne was as a rookie for the Jets, he was only there for parts of 4 seasons. He had the full 84 games as a rookie. Unreal. The next season, he only manages to get in 51 games. In those 51 games, he puts up 25 goals and 54 points, which is good, really good, but it ain't his rookie season. Following season, 22 goals and 48 points in just 45 games, because that was the lockout-shortened 94-95 season. But oh, it's okay, 95-96, here comes Teemu, he's back! In 51 games, just 24 goals, but his playmaking touch, ooh, it's up there. 48 assists, that's 72 points in 51 games. But unfortunately, the sun was setting on the Winnipeg Jets' time in Winnipeg. In one of the NHL's smallest markets, in one of the NHL's smallest buildings, with the Canadian dollar so weak, the Jets were on their way out of Winnipeg, and so was Teemu. And during the 95-96 season, a true blockbuster, Teemu Selanne is traded from the Winnipeg Jets to the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. The trade is as follows. The Anaheim Mighty Ducks acquired Teemu Selanne, forward Marc Chouinard, and a 4th-round pick in 1996. In exchange, the Winnipeg Jets acquired Chad Kilger, Oleg Tverdovsky, and a 3rd-round pick in 1996. Now again, if you're of a certain age, you're going to be like, uh-oh, Chad Kilger and Oleg Tverdovsky, I don't know who either of those players are. That means the Jets didn't do very well. But if you're of a certain age in the other direction, you're like, uh-oh, I do know who those players are, and that means the Winnipeg Jets didn't do very well. Here's the justification, and remember, it's 2022, and you got to take these trades in the context of the time. 4th-round pick, fine. Marc Chouinard, fine. But Teemu Selanne is only a few seasons removed from 76 goals, and even though he's had trouble getting back there, he's still got like 40, 50 goal potential. And what the Ducks gave up to get that potential was a 3rd-round pick in 1996. Okay, whatever. A defenseman named Oleg Tverdovsky, okay, whatever. And a forward named Chad Kilger, okay, whatever. Except not okay, whatever. This trade happened during the 95-96 season. Chad Kilger had just been selected 4th overall in the 95 draft, while Oleg Tverdovsky, just 2 seasons prior in 1994, had been selected 2nd overall in the 1994 draft. To give you an idea of the expectations placed on Chad Kilger, he was the first forward selected in 95. First one was Brian Berard, the second was Wade Redden, and the third was Aki Berg. Ooh. Oh, the 1995, go look through the 1995 draft. In 1994, Tverdovsky, 2nd overall pick, was the 2nd defenseman selected, one behind Ed Jovanovski, the 1st overall pick of that draft. In the context of the time, that's a windfall for the Winnipeg Jets, soon-to-be Phoenix Coyotes. So which should we look at first, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks or the Winnipeg Jets? Tell you what, let's start with the Winnipeg Jets, and I'm gonna get this out of the way right away. Winnipeg Jets trades from the 90s are really difficult because a lot of websites have them listed as WPG/PHX. And now their abbreviation is ARI. And what makes it even more confusing is there's another team called the Winnipeg Jets, who were previously ATL. Listen, these trade trees are hard enough when we're all just looking like the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme. But it's just that extra split second to think. Anyway, I'll stop complaining. We'll start with the 3rd-round pick in 1996 because it's easy. The branch is a rather short one. With that 3rd-round pick in 1996, 62nd overall, the Winnipeg Jets select a player named Per Anton Ludstrom, and he never played for them and never played in the NHL and was never traded. So that's the end of that branch. So we move on to Oleg Tverdovsky, and there's a lot more meat on that bone. From my childhood, I remember Tverdovsky as this defenseman that a lot of people seem frustrated with. Like he always had more to give or had such high potential, and that probably came with being the 2nd overall pick in 94. And don't get me wrong, he was good, but I don't know if he ever lived up to the 2nd overall stature. With the Jets, aka Coyotes organization, Tverdovsky put up 24 goals, 83 assists, 107 points in 241 games. And I always say this during these trade trees, usually to help out the team that lost the trade. So there's a spoiler for you. Games played matter. So no, you might not have gotten a super duper star out of a deal per se, but did you get someone serviceable to your franchise? That matters. And Tverdovsky played a lot of games that mattered in a role that mattered for the Jets and Coyotes organization. But hilariously, after those 241 games, the Jets traded him to Anaheim. And they actually got a lot for him. The Anaheim Ducks acquire Oleg Tverdovsky from the Coyotes in exchange for Travis Green and a 1st-round pick in 1999. Now, Travis Green, you might remember as the former head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, but he was a useful NHL player for a long time and had a decent little streak in his career of being in the all-star conversation, more so when he was with the New York Islanders. He played for them when they had those Captain Highliner jerseys. But the 15th overall pick in 1999, that's a high pick. That draft, not good. Out of the 28 players selected in the 1st round of 1999, 12 of them never amassed 100 NHL games played. That's nearly half of the 1st round of the 99 draft class. And the 2 best players from that draft class in terms of scoring, the only 2 players to eclipse 1,000 points, were related. Like a lot related. Identical twin related. the Sedin twins. But 3 players from the first round of '99 never played an NHL game at all, and unfortunately for Phoenix, Scott Kellman at 15th overall was one of them. That is a tough and abrupt end to that branch of the trade tree. Travis Green, on the other hand, played nearly 150 games, 147 for the Coyotes. 38 goals, 36 assists, 74 points. It's not bad considering what a defensive forward Travis Green was. And the trade tree continues because Travis Green was dealt. Green was packaged with Craig Mills and Robert Reichel and sent to the Toronto Maple Leafs for defenseman Danny Markov and a conditional 4th-round pick that never ended up getting exercised, so it was just defender Danny Markov. There's a lot of names in there that Leaf fans might remember. Danny Markov doing the salute to Jaromir Jagr after the Leafs eliminated the Penguins in overtime, back when the Leafs eliminated teams. Travis Green ended up scoring a game-winning goal in the playoffs for the Leafs against Philadelphia. Robert Reichel once took a slap shot on a penalty shot. That didn't go in.
He is 3 for 5 in his career in penalty shots. Oh, this one's in the playoffs.
He's slick. He is slick.
They give it on the whistle. Reichel on the move. Penalty shot. Game tied at 1-1. Reichel. Blast. Save. Make. Checkmatic.
What was that? I don't believe what Robert Reichel just did. Checkmatic is a huge man, and he was standing at the head of his crease where you don't have much to shoot at. Look at Checkmatic. He's right out the edge of his crease. He's huge. And he went to the stick side as well, where there would seem to be less room than on the glove side.
Also, one time, Robert Reichel was kicked out of a game with the Toronto Maple Leafs because head coach Pat Quinn screwed up his lineup card. He forgot to write down Reichel's name on the card, so he wasn't allowed to play. This isn't about the Leafs, it's about the Winnipeg Coyotes, or what? You know what I mean? Again, games played, very important. Danny Markov was a relatively young and hard-nosed. He was a good defender. And while on the Coyotes' back end, he put up 56 points in 136 games. And then he was dealt, so that branch of the trade tree continues until it ends rather abruptly. Markov was traded to the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for Igor Knyazev and David Tanabe. Tanabe was a defender who played 66 games for the team before getting traded to Boston for Dave Scatchard, who played 93 games for the Coyotes, putting up 31 points. And again, we find a 15th overall pick who doesn't work out because Igor Knyazev was the 15th overall pick in 2001, and he never played in the NHL either, just like Scott Kellman. Can you believe that the Carolina Hurricanes picked him when Colby Armstrong was still available? Love you, Colby. So the Coyotes weren't able to trade Knyazev, they weren't able to trade Scatchard, so that branch of the trade tree is done. And I think what you're seeing here is the Winnipeg Jets have generated some games played, some useful games played. Just not Teemu Selanne. Speaking of not being Teemu Selanne, the Jets were probably hoping Chad Kilger, being a forward, could fill some of that void. Now, the skills were always there. Chad Kilger was big, he could skate, he could shoot really hard. But in 63 games with the organization, Kilger put up just 6 goals, 7 assists for 13 points, and then was dealt. It was Chad Kilger packaged with Jason Moore, sent to the Chicago Blackhawks for defender Keith Carney and Jim Cummins. Jim Cummins played 75 games for the team, putting up just 8 points, but 237 penalty minutes. I wonder what he did. He was then dealt to the Montreal Canadiens for a 6th-round pick in 1999. Eric Lugerstrom never played in the NHL. Keith Carney, on the other hand, rugged defenseman. Might remember him from NHL 2001, where he had a hammer next to his name, which meant he could hit hard. He had 63 points in 266 games, but you don't acquire Keith Carney for points. So again, the Jets accumulating games played, 266, that's not bad, and they dealt him. Not just dealt him for futures. Keith Carney was sent to the Anaheim Ducks. They keep cropping up, don't they? For a 2nd-round pick in 2001. The Coyotes flipped that pick along with a 1st-round pick in 2001, 14th overall, to the Calgary Flames in exchange for the 11th overall pick in 2001. So the Jets, or the Coyotes, oh god, I keep screwing that up. The Coyotes paid the 41st overall pick in the 2nd round in order to move up 3 spots. That's expensive. The dude better be worth it. Who do you want? Well, they selected a defensive forward by the name of Frederick Sjustrom. Again, 261 games played for the organization. The Jets Coyotes, whatever they're called, they continue to get games played out of this trade tree. Just the 73 points, though. And unfortunately, the Jets' end of this trade tree ends pretty abruptly. Like, with a big deal, but abruptly. Because Schustrom was packaged along with Josh Gratton, David Lanuvo, and a 5th-round pick in 2009 and sent to the New York Rangers in exchange for MARCEL HOSSA, brother of Marion, and goaltender Al Montoya. Unfortunately for them, MARCEL HOSSA played just 14 more games, and that was the end of his NHL career. And Al Montoya, the once 5th overall pick in the NHL, played 5 games for the team and then was sent to the New York Islanders. The price to send him to the Islanders was a 6th-round pick in 2011. The Coyotes used that on a player named Andrew Fritsch, who never played in the NHL. So the good news for the Jets, then Coyotes organization, is they managed to take a trade from the mid-90s and stretch the assets out all the way to 2011, while somehow managing to make 1,000 more trades with the Ducks. So, what did the Mighty Ducks get out of it? Oh, just the Stanley Cup. We'll start easy. The 4th-round pick in 1996, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks got, was flipped to the Toronto Maple Leafs for a player named Ken Baumgartner. Baumgartner had just 79 games played for the team, 0 goals, 12 assists, 223 penalty minutes in those 79 games. I don't think a lot of kids these days realize, like, there were dudes whose job it was to fight, like, 20 times a season. Honestly, maybe more. But after those 79 games played, that's it for the Mighty Ducks organization, and Ken Baumgartner, that branch of the trade tree, is over. What about Mark Schwinard? 159 games played. That's good. 23 points. Not as good. And that's it. He wasn't traded? That's it. Well, geez, I hope Teemu Selanne did something for the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, or this is going to be a really boring rest of the video. Well, why don't you take a gander at the amount of time left in this video? Yeah, it's not ending anytime soon, so stick around a while. Teemu Selanne had the unbelievable 76-goal, 132-point rookie debut season with the Winnipeg Jets, and then never really gained it back with the Jets. He would gain it back in a big way for the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. After he was traded to the Ducks, Selanne played 28 games and put up 36 points. Ooh, tantalizing. Followed by the next season when he had 51 goals and 109 points. And that was in 78 games. The next season, he had just 86 points, but 52 goals, which surpassed his total from the previous year, in just 73. The following season, his goal total dipped to 47, but he was back into the hundreds with 107 points. During Selanne's first tenure with the Ducks, and that's important, we'll get back to that later, his first tenure with the Ducks, he had the 1999 Rocket Richard Trophy for the most goals in the NHL. He was top 5 in Hart voting 3 times. By the way, thank you to hockeyreference.com for actually keeping track of who finished where in the voting. I don't know what I would do without you. He was a 5-time Lady Byng nominee. He was really, really extremely good. But just like his tenure with the Jets, he started to fall off a little. In 61 games in his final season of his first stay with the Anaheim Ducks, he fell just a little below a point a game with 59. And then he was dealt to the San Jose Sharks. For a decent little package here, San Jose acquired Teemu Selanne, and in exchange they gave the Anaheim Mighty Ducks forward Jeff Friesen, goaltender Steve Shields, and a 2nd-round pick, 36th overall, in 2003. Now, the easiest one to do here is Steve Shields. A record in net of 9-20-2. Not good. He was dealt to the Boston Bruins for a 3rd-round pick, and unfortunately, that 3rd-round pick never played in the NHL. So that's the end of that branch. That was easy. Now, if you go back and look at his early career numbers, you could see why the Mighty Ducks wanted Jeff Friesen. He was a really promising young player for the San Jose Sharks. In his first 15 games to end the 2001 season, he put up 12 points, so okay, there might be a point-a-game player here. But in a full 81-game season, the following season, just 43 points. It wasn't quite there. So, Jeff Friesen was packaged with Maxim Balmochnik and Oleg Tverdovsky. What? Okay, this is the thing. On many occasions throughout this trade tree, the Anaheim Ducks either went back to the Winnipeg Jets / Arizona Coyotes, Phoenix Coyotes, whatever, and traded for their players back, or they just got their players back by some other means, or just signed them in free agency. So for the second time in this trade tree, Oleg Tverdovsky is traded by the Anaheim Ducks, this time to New Jersey, in exchange for Mike Commodore, pack your stuff, JF Domfus, Peter Sikora, and Igor Pohanka. We'll start with Igor Pohanka. He was a 2nd-round pick in 2001, so you could see why the Mighty Ducks would have wanted him, but unfortunately he never played in the NHL. Not traded, end of branch. Peter Sikora. underrated player. 131 points in 197 games with the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Which might not sound that impressive to you, but I'm gonna bump that for inflation because that was during like the dead puck era of the early 2000s. If it sounds like nobody scored, that's because they didn't. Sikora was eventually packaged with a 4th round pick in 2007 and sent to the New York Rangers in exchange for Maxim Kondratiev. Big defender, a lot of potential, only played 4 games for the Ducks and then was bound for the KHL. That branch, done. But the other 2 parts of that deal, they were traded. Mike Commodore didn't play any games for the Ducks. He did in the minors, but not for the NHL team, and neither did JF Domfus. They were packaged and sent to the Calgary Flames for Rob Niedermayer. Have you heard of him? Ah, yes, the brother of Scott's, who was, just like his brother, also a top 5 pick. And, just like his brother, renowned for his defense, except, unlike his brother, he was a forward. He played 382 games for the Anaheim Ducks / Anaheim Mighty Ducks organization. He put up 124 points, which isn't a lot, but again, he was more of a defensive forward. On more than one occasion, he received Selke votes. And this is where he made his money anyway: 73 Stanley Cup playoff games with the Anaheim Ducks organization. In those 73 games, 9 goals, 18 assists, 27 points, but his Mona Lisa, just mwah, was the Ducks' 3rd line during the 2007 Stanley Cup playoffs of Rob Niedermayer, Sammy Paulson, and Travis Moen. There are teams in the Western Conference, and you can throw the Ottawa Senators in there as well, that still see that line in their nightmares. And we're not done talking about 2007, because we got to end this trade tree with the final branch, and this to me was the most shocking one. 2003 2nd round pick that the Ducks got from the San Jose Sharks was packaged with another 2nd round pick in 2003, so essentially the 36th pick and the 54th pick in 2003. They were sent to the Dallas Stars for the 28th overall pick in 2003, Corey Perry. Game over. That's it. Ducks win. Like, I don't always like to declare a clear winner and clear loser in these trade trees. Game over. That's it. That's all. They won. Corey Perry played 988 games with the Anaheim Ducks organization. 372 goals, 404 assists, 776 points. He was a first-team NHL All-Star twice, won the 2007 Stanley Cup with the team, and in 2011, his best season, he was a 50-goal scorer, winning the Rocket Richard Trophy and the Hart Trophy as league MVP. Not to mention, he was granted the lovely nickname of the Worm, because on top of outscoring you every shift, he would out-hit you every shift and outworm you every shift. Corey Perry is the worst! And I mean that as a compliment. Whether he's doing something subtle like knocking over your goalie's water bottle or something not so subtle like punching you in the face, Corey Perry has been one of the most effective players in the NHL for a long time, and it's a testament to the type of player he is that he's still going and still like a factor, like a big factor in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That dude has been to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. And people love bringing up the fact that Corey Perry has lost 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. And you may giggle, but at the end of the day, he's got that ring, and he got it in 2007. With the Anaheim Ducks. So here's the genius, the 3D chess of the Anaheim Ducks in this trade tree. They acquire Teemu Selanne. They then trade away Teemu Selanne. The assets that they got for Teemu Selanne directly led to their acquisition of Rob Niedermayer, who won the Stanley Cup with them, and Corey Perry, who won the Stanley Cup with them. He did a little bit more than win the Stanley Cup with them. All the while, the Ducks managed to reacquire Teemu Selanne, who won the Cup with them in 2007.
And now, the Stanley Cup is going to stay below the border in the U.S. of A. Anaheim Ducks, the 2007 Stanley Cup champs.
That is how the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, or the Anaheim Ducks, whatever you choose to call them, acquired Teemu Selanne, and over a decade later, it got them a cup. Listen, the Winnipeg Jets could have done worse with this trade tree. They really could have. They got several players to play 100+ games for them over the course of this trade tree's evolution, but none of them were Teemu Selanne. None of them were even Corey Perry. I wouldn't even say any of them were Rob Niedermeyer. This trade tree is a masterclass by the Anaheim Ducks, and it's no wonder it brought them to their first and only Stanley Cup. So, woo! What do you think of this trade tree? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. That's quite the... How long is it? I can't even see because I'm shooting the video. I'm not watching it like you are. Was it good? At least I hope it was good. Did you know that the original Selanne trade led to the Ducks getting Corey Perry? I bet you didn't, but now you do. That's what we do here on Trade Trees on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. But for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends to stop asking me about the Trevor Linden trade tree because it's even longer than this one. And we're going to do it, but it's going to hurt. But we're... Oh. You know I love you guys, right? Like, that's the only... I wouldn't do this if I didn't.